Galimera, Galispera, Galinichta, no matter where in this wild, wacky, and sometimes wonderful world you might be, thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. Whoops, hold on 1 second. There's something else playing, another window open. Red and yellow cards for me, maybe a yellow. We're late, but there's a reason. We've sold someone, and someone who is near and dear to this show. Plus, our favorite football frenemy is back. Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad. I'm never sure if it's a good idea. Whenever I think, yeah, let's get Kyle on, and then I see his little tag come up, and I see it's like says champions again, and I think, wow, was this a mistake? Kyle Campbell, welcome back to Squad Central.
Thank you very much, guys. Pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you. It's good to see you. Good to have you back.
Yeah,
it's been too long.
It has been really long, hasn't it? Way too long. But the wait was worth it. So.
What? For us or for you?
Well, for me, yeah.
I put this thumbnail together for us, by the way, and then I had to do. Yeah, you look cool. You're holding up your Radcliffe Borough shirt. By the way, sorry, at ease squaddies, at ease. My bad. I got excited about having Kyle back here at Squad Central. Good evening to each and every one of you. Kyle looking good. So nice to see you. Trev says good evening. Good to see you. Ayushman says hello. Demsek says hello. Ian. Demsek is worried about our squad depth. We're going to talk to Kyle about that in just a little bit. Galispera. Yes, Vieira's been confirmed. Football is tough. And in the end, Arteta was correct. We'll talk about that. We'll see. We'll miss Ramsdale, but good luck to him. Thoughts are with both of you. Great show. We're going to have a great show. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have fun here. Evening, Wesbird as well. Evening, Greeny Man. Evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at Squad Central. There's big news. There is big news. But before we get to the big news, there's been another signing this summer. And here you are holding up your Radcliffe shirt. How's it going and how happy are you?
I'm actually over the moon with Jordan Radcliffe. Obviously, I've gone 3 steps up in the English pyramid. So I was at step, I like to say step 6 or 5 before. Now I've gone up to, I think it's step 3 or step 3 or 2. I think 3 or 2, I think it might be 2. So National League North. So we obviously play teams like Chester, South Shields, Hereford, Kidderminster. Played them away about 2 weeks ago. That was a good atmosphere. I think Phil Brown was a manager, if you remember him.
Really?
Yeah, he was a manager there. So obviously, yeah, it was him. So obviously, that it's quite surreal seeing him. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And obviously, the managers, the players, all unreal, and all just welcome me so much into the team. So yeah, really enjoying it.
Love it. Excellent. Really good news. And also, we were really proud of Ty signing for Sheffield United as well. Really good to see you both moving on to pastures new when it comes to your football. And good timing, I think, Kyle. All good timing, right?
Yeah.
I think it's all worked out really well.
Timing.
Yeah.
100%, definitely.
This is how I announced us, by the way. This was our picture that we took when we saw each other a couple of weeks ago. Looking dapper, by the way. And I'm digging the hair. It's all looking good.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Yeah, cool, isn't it?
It's good. Very good. Very good. But listen, let's get stuck into some football talk. This is why I was late. And, I've got to be fair. I'll give myself a yellow card because I was late. It was a late kickoff. But there's a reason for it. So just as I was happy with the thumbnail I put together for myself and Kyle, breaking news about Aaron Ramsdale joining Southampton. I have a few things to say about this. I'm very happy about Mikel Merino joining. And of course, you've seen your brother go through transfers. We talked a lot about this on our show over the years. there was a show that we did with Nick Ramsdale, and the show that went viral, Kyle, where he said that his son has lost his
Yeah,
smile. You know, it was really difficult, but your dad actually gave him brilliant advice and gave him the example of
yeah,
losing his place to Ian Wright. I think you saw the show.
yeah,
As a player, when you really want to stay somewhere, but the business of football ushers you on, you saw it at your club, City, with Joe Hart.
yeah.
Pep Guardiola right away is like, no, he's not my guy. Give us the
Hmm.
player perspective first, and then we can talk about it from an Arsenal fan point of view.
Well, I just think that it's hard because football changes very quick, doesn't it? So 1 minute you'll be loved by everyone, like loved by all the fans, loved by the manager. Next minute you may not be the player he wants in anymore, or the manager may get sacked who liked you at first, and then another manager comes in and he may just not like you. I think everything happens for a reason in football, though, and I think with Ramsdale, I know if I was in issues, I would love to obviously have the opportunity to go to Southampton. It's still Premier League club. Obviously now he can push on and he could just obviously if he hasn't got a smile on his face, he can get that smile back on his face, can't he? By just playing
Mm,
football and just stopping shots, getting the confidence up. Because if it's not happening at Arsenal, then he's got to go somewhere else and find it, because that's what you got to do as a footballer in this game, in this day and age as well, because it's not an easy game, football, and I don't think people realise that.
mm. You know, I want to ask you this one too, because one of my sayings is once you've stayed at the Four Seasons, you don't really want to stay at the Holiday Inn. And he's been at the
Yeah,
Four Seasons for a few years now. And
yeah,
no disrespect to Southampton, I feel like he's going to the Holiday Inn. I probably will get pelters for that a little bit. I understand. Listen, Southampton's a beautiful city, great stadium, superb fans, just came up, not guaranteed. In fact, a lot of people have Southampton as a relegation favourite this season.
mm.
Do you see this as a step down?
I wouldn't say it's a step down. I wouldn't say it's a step down. It's still a Premier League club. Premier League is the hardest league in the world. We all know that it's most entertaining, or one of the most entertaining. If he's still getting an opportunity to play Premier League football week in, week out, and let's say he does really well, by Christmas he could be back in the England squad. So he's probably setting challenges for himself. He's probably saying, right, go Southampton, start well, then after that, get an England squad, for example. Now, who knows? Because if he gets in the England squad, and let's say Southampton may stay up, they may go down. I do think then he's got every right to then move on to a club in Arsenal's
Mm,
category, if you like to put it. So maybe a top
mhm.
7 team in the Prem. Because he's a good keeper. Not like you can't say he's not a good keeper. He's been at Arsenal. Some of the saves he's made for Arsenal. I think he's just been unfortunate with Raya coming in, and obviously Arteta liking Raya more. But football is a game of opinions, isn't it? As we know.
You know what's really interesting is, yeah, you said it at the start. You could be like the soup du jour, and then another player comes in, and we know that Arteta had his eye on David Raya for a while now.
Yeah,
You can't argue with the fact that he's come in, he's done a great job, and he was the Golden Glove winner, and made up a lot of what makes us a great defense. This is a question I have for you a little bit later on, but at the same time, Ramsdale came in at a time where our culture was dead. There was a disengagement with fans. They were trying to rebuild Arsenal, build Arsenal 2.0. Tomiyasu, and White were really that kind of first stream of DNA players that we brought in that were very different to try and match up with the
yeah,
Sakas and the Emil Smith Rowes of the world at the time. And, he finds himself in a position where is it Pickford is the number one choice, but now I get what you're saying, because with Southgate gone and Lee Carsley as the interim manager, who knows what conversations he's had on that front, where Carsley might want to, really make his mark as England manager and turn the page and move on
yeah.
with Ramsdale too.
Exactly. You just don't know, because Southgate obviously liked Pickford. Pickford started in every major game, every major tournament. He rarely rested him. But we know what managers are like. Lee Carsley could really like Ramsdale. Ramsdale could go to Southampton, have a great 2 months. Then when the Christmas break comes around, he does well in Christmas. international break after Christmas, Lee Carsey goes, I like him. Let's give him a chance, because I do think Lee Carsey will give a lot more opportunities to players. I think Southgate was I don't think he gave enough opportunities to players who were having a good season. But I'd like to see him take Pickford out, put Ramsdale in, for example, or maybe take out, for example, someone else. Maybe take out Kane and put Watkins up front, because Kane's not getting any younger, is he? As we know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think every England fan wants that, because I don't think Pickford's been great so far. He's let in 7 goals in the Premier League. But if Southgate was still manager, we know Pickford will be starting regardless. I think we need some more competition for places. That's what I think.
That's true. And I think this is a good point. Who posted it? Let me just try and find the comment. It's no different. Here it is from Ian. Said it loads, but no different to upgrading from Katie to Calafiori to Timber. I get it. You know what it is? There's certain players. For example, it hurt some Arsenal fans that Emile Smith Rowe left. And it hurt, but it was hard, right? There's certain players you build a bond with and an affinity with. Aaron Ramsdale definitely, for me, was someone that, made me like the club. I always love my club, but there's a difference between love and like. And I think Tomiyasu and White and Saka and Emile Smith Rowe at that time and Ramsdale really made us like our club again. And of course, everyone knows that, Nick had been on the show, and I was fortunate enough to see the Ramsdales when I was in London, and I had a chat with Aaron as well. And you could just get a sense too, like they really loved being part of Arsenal Football Club. Yeah. And I know that the family, being the awesome human beings that they are going to be loved at Southampton. They're going to love them over there. What I'd like to ask you is, just last year we were talking, he came off being, not last season, the season prior, he came off being part of the PFA Team of the Year. He was up for multiple awards, and people were talking about him being worth 50 million. The deal is 20 to 25 with add-ons, I believe. And squaddies, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think, Kyle, that is a bit cheap.
Yeah. I would say it probably is a bit cheap, but I do think goalkeepers' price tags have probably gone down a bit recently. But if you look at Liverpool, they signed that Georgian keeper for, what was it, 30 million? So it's like, and you're telling me, is he better than Ramsdale? I don't think he is. So I think that Arsenal should have probably got a bit more for Ramsdale. He was England's goalkeeper. He was probably even competing for England's #1 goalkeeping spot. And then he was Arsenal's regular goalkeeper starter. He should have gone for more, I think. But the thing is, though, being on the bench, it makes you lose value. When you don't play, your value drops. Injuries, just not playing in general, your value will drop regardless. You need to be playing. And he hasn't been playing, which has been unfortunate, really. But I think that's just how it goes with goalkeepers.
Yeah, that is the issue. You don't play, your market value dips and goes down. But Aaron Ramsdale, thank you for everything that you did for us. This happened while we were coming to air. Otherwise I would have had pictures and put up a whole bunch of other stuff. But I think, we all know that the save at Leicester was really where we all fell in love with him. The double save against Spurs. Yes, there were mistakes. Every player makes mistakes. But there's no doubt that Aaron Ramsdale was a huge part of the Arteta revolution. He helped get us back into the Champions League. And Arteta is absolutely ruthless. And we've been wanting a ruthless manager for so long that makes up the inches to get us to a point where we can compete with your lot, Kyle. So why don't we get stuck into this a little bit, right? So it's our 3rd year in our attempt to try and topple you. The signing of Calafiori has many Arsenal fan excited. We've also just announced Mikel Merino, who, by the way, I don't know if you saw this picture, but this is him in an Arsenal kit. Isn't that cool?
It seems like everyone who joins Arsenal is an Arsenal fan, doesn't it? Everyone who joins Arsenal is an Arsenal fan. I don't
Kyle,
know
we have the We have the history, mate.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's very true. I was thinking that I saw it. I was like, he was an Arsenal fan as well because I saw Calafiori was an Arsenal fan. I was like, okay, that must just be coincidence. And out of nowhere, I see Merino now. I'm like, oh my god, like what's happening here? It's like everyone. It's like you got clones of everyone, haven't you? Just being Arsenal fans.
Listen, we can't help being a massive, massive club where players who actually play the game support us and then want to come and play for us. It's amazing what heritage, history can do, Kyle, to, you know, a club. And I do feel like we're coming for you. But let's jokes aside, let's talk about this honestly, right? I was feeling really super confident and I'm still confident. But then my confidence took a little bit of a dip when I saw this signing, right? Now, I don't know if he's the same player. Clearly, he didn't have a good time at Barcelona. It doesn't seem many people have a good time at Barcelona these days. You say that you missed him last season, but you still won the title. But you could sense in games that there was a definite piece missing. You know, when you look at our midfield now and kind of, you know, how and Gundogan is one of those players. He can pop up anywhere on the pitch. He can play where he's in midfield. Is he a false nine? What is he? He's like he's a mosquito, basically. He's everywhere.
Basically.
What difference does this make to you guys and how does that affect us?
I think it gives us the extra bit of squad depth we need in just scoring goals and assisting. We've got De Bruyne, obviously, Bernardo Silva, and obviously Haaland. Then we've got likes of Doku now. We've got obviously Foden. Now we're adding Gundogan to it, obviously Rodri. It's just it helps us so much because he was so pivotal in treble winning season. That we need him back. We needed him back, and I was even watching him in the Euros for Germany, and he hasn't even got worse. He just still looks quality. So I'm surprised we got him back. I thought he would have gone to Saudi, but you know what? I love it how he's come back. I love it because I know he will do well, and he fits in perfectly. Like he came on against Ipswich on Saturday. He didn't even look like he was gone.
Yeah, he seems like one of those players. Newman's, he's 34, but he's aging well. He takes care of himself, looks after himself. And by the way, for those of you asking about the goalkeeper, yes, it looks like we have a deal in place with the Espanyol goalkeeper. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know a ton about him, but we're going to do a goalkeeper show with Michael Price from You Are My Arsenal, and we'll get stuck into that a little bit more and talk about that. And yeah, I agree. Savinho looks like a really good pickup. He looks like a really good player. Gundogan found goals from midfield 2 years ago that were the difference. Question is, does he have another year? Does he have that that pace? Like, you know, does he have that energy? Does he have that resilience still, do you think, Kyle, to make a difference to your team this season? Or is he going to be a super sub?
I think he'll start. I do think he'll start in the big games. I found the season we won the treble. When I remember a game Leeds at home, for example. We played Leeds at home and we beat them 2-1. He scored 2. Haaland didn't score. Haaland had about 5 chances and didn't score. Gundogan was the one to score the 2 goals for us. If we don't win that, Arsenal potentially win the league. Also, what other game was there? I think that was also the game we played Everton away, if I'm correct. I think he scored 2 goals in that as well against Everton away. He was just so pivotal for us. He came up with goals when we needed him the most, I found. And I think he was another source of goals. He always came in with the goals. He knew where the back of the goal was. He knew how to assist. I think with him as well, he takes the pressure off De Bruyne and Haaland because he's like, as you said, he's like a little mosquito. So basically, he's getting the ball, and you think to yourself, what are we going to do now? If he's got the ball, we don't want De Bruyne having the ball, but we don't want Haaland getting the ball as well in the box. It's 3 players you've got to watch out for. Bear in mind, you've got another 4 players you've got to watch out for: Foden, Savinho, Rodri, and Bernardo Silva, for example. It's one more player, isn't it? Just to work your mind. as in the
Okay,
position.
I think in seasons past, I would have look. Rodri for me is the best player in the world. I've said it on this show. I don't care what anyone says. That's my humble opinion. I felt that last season we matched up well with you. We beat you, and we got a point on the road as well at the Etihad.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, we fell short against teams like Fulham and West Ham and Aston Villa, for crying out loud. Um, this season, I feel that with the signing of Mikel Merino, that we can match up well in midfield. Because listen, you're the target. You're who we're going after, right?
yeah,
And I think Thomas Partey started off well. I don't want to hear people complaining about Thomas Partey. I thought he got a goal. He played well. Yes, he dips in and out. His energy doesn't seem to be there, but I think that, he's done a pretty good job since the start of the season. Odegaard, we don't need to explain him. Rice has started off very slow. He's played a lot of football since winning the European Conference with West Ham, Kyle.
yeah,
He's not had the fastest start to the season that we've been used to seeing. But now with Mikel Merino, we get that extra edge. Fabio Vieira has gone. Waneri, I think, will get his chances. This was the area of, I believe, was our most important to strengthen and the most important to get goals from as well, right? So
hmm
I feel that when everyone's fit, we can match up. The area where I believe could be the difference is the striker position if we're looking at an out and out number 9,
yeah,
because we did score the most goals in our Premier League history last season. What we didn't do was be super clinical with all of our chances. Now, when you're looking at making up those extra inches, Haaland has started off already scoring a hat trick in 1 minute. Do you think that our our attack is an injury away from disaster? Do you think this is the position if you're matching up with Arsenal tomorrow and you're thinking, man, defense, they're so good, midfield, they've got it, but that striker position, is that where Man City fans will fancy their chances against us?
yeah, definitely. As a City fan, I know your defense is probably better than ours. Your midfield, outside midfield, is just a bit better, only because of Rodri. But then it comes to the attack, and our attack it's just a lot. It's a lot more complete than yours. Like Havertz isn't a striker. Well, he might be in some fans' eyes, but in my eyes, he's not a striker. And I think you need someone like Gyökeres or even a
Mm.
Tony. But I think last season, Haaland was frustrating me. He was missing a lot of chances. Obviously, he knows himself that he should have scored more, like considering the amount of chances he had last season. But he still got golden boot, and he still scored in crucial games like at United away, Chelsea away, like sort of Spurs away. He scored 2 goals, so that's a striker. You're there to score goals, and that's what he's done. And that Spurs game away from home was practically won us the league. I just think that has that has come to haunt Arsenal over recent years. I think if you look at Fulham away and also West Ham home, you really needed that just striker, didn't you, with that cutting edge, and you didn't have it. And I don't think Havertz is that player to do that. And I don't think Martinelli really helps as well. I think Saka's your only really goal threat in that attack. I don't think Martinelli does enough. I think Trossard would be more preferred over Martinelli. Sorry, if I was a manager and I would have gone out and got a striker, definitely I would have gone out and got Gyökeres.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a last minute surprise. There could be, but
Yeah,
I believe that we needed cover for Saka, or maybe Arteta has something up his sleeve. Maybe Waneri's going to be that guy. Reece Nelson, if when Jesus comes back, hopefully and can stay fit, he can also cover for Saka. The midfield really was the area I wanted strengthening, and I said I saw a show Harry did 6 months ago, and he was talking about a left back, and everyone thought he was crazy, and I agreed with him. I was like, we have
yeah,
injury prone left backs. And we need cover there. So, and when you're looking at getting goals, and I think Merino will get goals, he's aggressive, he's good aerially, he's a great ball carrier.
yeah,
He's got all of the attributes of an Arteta player. And I think I'm sick and tired, Kyle, of the disrespect for Kai Havertz. I really am. because from January up until the end of the season, Kai Havertz was one of our best players. And when you look at how he plays on and off the ball, what he's able to do to open up spaces, his physicality as well, including the fact that we finally have him and Benjamin White, who have got shithousery in them, and Calafiori looks like he might have some shithousery in him too.
Yeah.
This is exactly a physical number 9. Haaland is a physical number 9. Do you think Kai Havertz is really disrespected, especially when you look at his DNA and his profile as a player? He's not going to get you the amount of goals Haaland is, but he's going to get you goals and he's going to get you assists, and he's still fundamentally important to this Arsenal team.
Well, I think he definitely helps. Obviously, he scored against... Who was your first game of the season again? Was it Wolves? Wolves at home.
Yeah.
He scored against Wolves, didn't he? And obviously Saka scored. And that's your attack scoring, obviously, scoring all your goals, really. And obviously, he played Villa away and watched that game. And I don't really think he did enough, in my eyes, against Villa. And I just think that... Look, everyone, you're not going to have your best game every game. Everyone knows that. And obviously, Haaland has games where it goes missing. Everyone knows that. But I just think with Havertz, are you really that worried about him? Because as a defender, like, would you be worried about Havertz, or would you be worried about Saka, for example? Because Havertz is a tall player. He's physical. He's got shithousery in him. We know that. But if he goes through one-on-one with the goalkeeper, are you like, oh, it's a goal? Like with Haaland, you kind of know it's going to be a goal in a way. He's got that threat about him. I don't really think Havertz has that threat about him that makes defenders scared. He isn't really quick. He can aerially, he's good. He's good enough. But I just don't think he's got the threat. And I think the main threat that Haaland has got is his pace.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Listen, I agree that is he as clinical as Haaland? No, but you mentioned aerially, and I think that he does scare defenders when we go up, when we have set pieces. And the cross from Saka wasn't a set piece; it was in play, and he dominated that. And I think that he allows his runs and the spaces that he opens up. Look, Saka can be a flair player, and he can play much simpler as well. That right side, I think, we've got it down to an absolute T. And everyone keeps talking about Mikel Merino coming in, improving Martinelli, and Havertz getting better. But Havertz, the way he played when Trossard came on, you see, you're only good as the players next to you too. When you've got De Bruyne pinging in passes left, right, and centre to you, Haaland is going to be banging those goals in all day long. And I wanted to get into the depth a little bit because you guys have a lot of depth. And I don't know if you feel like your depth is the same as last season. You really have just lost Alvarez in terms of like a major impact player. And what a player that he was. A lot of Arsenal fans want Trossard to start over Martinelli. I love the idea of Martinelli playing out of his funk, I was saying on the show a few days ago, and Trossard being the super sub for now. I've included Merino here because we don't know how Arteta's going to, set that up. But there was a massive difference in how we played when Trossard came on. And I think that Havertz gets, and Ian did send me a bunch of stats about Havertz and his involvement in goals, his assists, his heat maps. He's a very important player for this team. Trossard, I think, is the type of impact player that makes players better. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with that, to be fair. I think Trossard is better coming off the bench, personally. I think he's probably the best impact sub in the Premier League at this moment in time. It's almost to say to me, who would you bring on if you need a goal? I would probably say Trossard more times than not, because he's proven it time and time again. When he comes on, he scores goals. We know this. I think Martinelli does well. Like, he works hard and he wears down the fullback. So when he wears down the fullback, then when Trossard comes on and works his magic and gets into little tight spaces and then starts scoring his goals or starts taking his shots. So I think you are right. I think when Trossard comes on, Havertz probably has more joy because he can get on the rebounds from Trossard shots. he can get in the box and he knows Trossard will cross the ball in because he's quite unselfish. Trossard, I find so. I
Which you
think it does
want.
help. Yeah. Oh, you want your winger to be unselfish, definitely. I think if you look at, like, for example, United, that's the opposite, where they're inverted and they just want to score. They just run directly at a goal. At Arsenal, they actually look to play it into Havertz and Odegaard, etc. So that's why Trossard will score. That's why Havertz does score. That's why even Odegaard, he scores sometimes.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? One of the areas that worries Arsenal fans, and again, we're coming for you, Kyle. This is why we're doing this today. Is squad depth is horrible at the moment, says Crypto Desk. I hope you sold your crypto a while ago, but I don't think so. You could add a young player called Lewis Skelly to this. Jesus is not on here; he's injured. See how you guys, I had a question mark with Ramsdale because I did this graphic before. You got Calafiori, Jorginho, Trossard, Zinchenko. You've got Merino, Kivior, Waneri, Reece Nelson. Tomiyasu is not on this graphic because he too is injured a lot. But when you look at that and you look at your depth, how do we stack up to you? What are we expecting this season? Are we closer? Do you feel like with those names I just rattled off, are we a bit closer?
I do think you are closer. I think defensively, obviously you've got Calafiori now. Midfield wise, you've got Merino.
Merino.
Yeah, Merino.
You want me to show you the picture? I'll show you the lovely picture again of him as an Arsenal fan when he was younger, because City just don't have that history. Look at that. Yeah,
he's not Gundogan, he's not Rodri, is he? So yeah,
he won the Euros. I mean, I know. Hello, Rodri got injured in the Euros, and Zubimendi, and taking a sip here, and Merino. Hello, would you agree with that?
Yeah, well, yeah, I would agree with that, but he does not get in City's team. No way.
Well, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Who's getting ahead of him?
Yeah.
No, but seriously, on a serious note, are we not? I feel people think I'm whack, but I feel that we're closer to you squad wise.
Well, yeah, you are. But let's say
apart from the striker,
if one defender gets injured and one midfielder gets injured, you've got back up there. But then what happens if another one gets injured? I just don't think.
Calafiori could play. We got Timber, who's versatile. Tomiyasu, we don't know when he's going to come back. How many covers do you need? Like, so we've got, if we look at our bench, right, you've got Kivior who can play in that centre back position as well. I don't think we're as lean as some fans think.
Yeah, I just think, you know what? It's probably the striker spot. Trossard's obviously a winger. Obviously got Jesus as well. So yeah, I don't think you're looking too bad. But is it a title-winning squad depth? Is the quality on the bench good enough?
Well, I think our quality was less last season, and we should have won the league. I mean, we only have ourselves to blame. We really do. The season before, I think the heat got to us. The mental, it was just too much. We beat you. We beat Liverpool. We got a point against Liverpool on the road. We got a point against you on the road. We just went and lost 2 London derbies last Christmas, almost back to back, and totally screwed ourselves. Idiotic.
That's true.
I've got a question for you, because Mark's asking, and this is a good question. What happens if Haaland gets injured, Kyle?
I think we'll go with Foden in the false 9 or Gundogan in the false 9. I don't really think we'll get a backup striker. I'll be very surprised if we do get one in. Obviously, I would love Gyökeres as a backup striker, but that's probably just me being greedy. But if I'm to be honest, I think we go false 9, back to Pep's old ways, and he's going to put Foden in the centre forward spot, or maybe even De Bruyne. But I think with this City team, there are goals everywhere. Rodri scores, De Bruyne scores, Haaland scores, Gundogan will now score, Savinho will score. Foden will score. You know, there's goals all over the pitch. We don't just heavily rely on Haaland to score our goals. When he's not there, people actually say we play better as a team. So I'm not worried if Haaland was to get injured. That's
Yeah, I mean, I think he gets a little bit of disrespect. I mean, he still won the Golden Boot last season, and everyone was ragging on him like he had the worst season in the world. Okay, so we've talked about our new signings. I'm very excited about Calafiori. He showed some. He was only on the pitch for a short time, but you know he's got it. Mikel Merino, already an Arsenal fan, as we know. Our midfield looks better today than it did yesterday. Your midfield, your squad overall looks better with the addition of, you know, I think an absolute legend. I hate to say it out loud, but he is. The striker position might be where we fall short. We'll see. Our defense, I think I put up as better than yours. We had the best defensive record last season. I think Saliba and Gabriel are the best centre-back partnership in all of Europe. And I think it's time that people started putting respect on Benjamin White's name as one of the best right-backs in Europe. He's brilliant. Can you just real quick tell me how much you rate Benjamin White? Would you like him in your team?
Yeah, I don't. As a City fan, he's very annoying when you play against him because you know what he's going to do. He's a shit house and he's just irritating. You know, he gets into our players. He hits them hard, doesn't he? So it's like it's so irritating. But I would love it if he was in City's team. I don't think he's better than Walker yet. He's not better than Walker yet, but he's getting there. He's very close. But I do think he is in the top 3 Europe's best right backs currently.
Well done. Well said, Kyle. Excellent. Yeah. And I think that this is the season where he proves he is better. Walker had a horrible Euros. My goodness. I thought he was horrible. Didn't have a good one at all. Okay, so let's talk quickly about I want to get your take because it's not happening directly, but it's happening indirectly. And it's a player that, you know, the stupid rumors start. You know, there's a crazy rumor about Darwin Núñez, and there was one attaching us with Raheem Sterling. But what are your thoughts on Sterling potentially pulling a Carlos Tevez? I like to see this. Do you care? Do City fans care? Do they give a flying F where Sterling ends up? Would it be like, you know, a dagger or care less? He's already gone to Chelsea. We care less about where he goes next.
I think we knew when he was going to go to Chelsea, we knew it wasn't going to work. Even though we did score against us last season at the Etihad, we knew that it wasn't really going to work out because Chelsea is a toxic club and it's a club that's going into ruins. But now that he's going to a proper club, if he does in Arsenal under Arteta, because him and Arteta did have a good relationship.
Well, the rumours he's going to Man United.
No, you can go United. They're done for. They're done for, United. So he can go United. I don't really care. If he goes United, that's fine. That's fine by me.
Do you not think Man United have had a good window? I actually think they've had one of the best transfer windows. Am I going crazy, squaddies? They needed to rebuild their defense. They've strengthened in the attacking area. You don't think they're a better squad? I think I think giving up McTominay is a mistake. I do.
100%. There's a lot of goals they're missing out on there because he did score a lot of goals for them. But I just look, this doesn't show that their defense is bad. But the goal they conceded on Saturday against Brighton, the winner, that's poor. That is poor. That's poor defending.
I loved it. Did you not love that?
Yeah, of course I did. I loved it. I just think United aren't going anywhere. I think he'll get sacked, Ten Hag. I don't think he's the man. I really don't. I think his signings have been lackluster. Majority of his signings are injured now, or they're looking likely to be injured. It's just United are a mess. But I'm not complaining because I'm a City fan, so I love it.
Okay. Right. Let's get on to our last subject. The Champions League draw tomorrow. It's a wacky new system. Everyone's going to play 8 games. Who knows how this is going to end up? A lot of people are like smelling conspiracy theories already. It seems like a circus to make more money. At the end of the day, though, once it starts and once the games are all drawn, everyone's going to be excited about the Champions League kicking off again. I don't think we have a chance to win. I mean, we all have a chance to win it, but
Yeah.
the one I want is the Premier League, of course. Your team, Manchester City, are they prioritizing? It would be great for us if they were prioritizing the Champions League. Unfortunately, Pep prioritizes everything. But as a fan, what do you want? And what do you think about this new Champions League format?
As a fan, me personally, I want the Champions League again. I think I've said this in like shows before. I've said if we win the Champions League and also win the Premier League, I would take it. I've said it to my dad as well. I said to my dad that I don't care if Arsenal win the Premier League. I want the Champions League. So I'm still sticking with that. I want the Champions League again. I do. So I also can win the Prem. That's fine. But the feeling of winning the Champions League is unbelievable. I want that feeling again. So I'm gonna have to go for the Champions League again. I'm gonna have to. I'll be gutted if we were to lose the league on the last day. I would be gutted, but I'll be more gutted if we was to lose in the Champions League final. That's what I think about it, because there's something about the Champions League, isn't there? There's just something about it. You're the best team in Europe. We've been the best team in England for the past 6 years now. Where now, I want to be the best team in Europe for the next 3, 4, 5 years. Because obviously we didn't win it last year. Won the league before, year before. But this year we need to win it again. Make it 2.
So you want to exert some dominance in you've shown the dominance in English football. Now you want to start racking up a little bit of that heritage in Europe, a la Real Madrid. You got a long way to go to catch Real Madrid, but you can catch some of the other teams.
It's one of those things where I hope Real Madrid get knocked out just to avoid them, because when we play them, our record isn't great. We rarely win, but when we don't play them and we get an easy route to the final, we win it. If Real Madrid get knocked out by someone like a Leverkusen, for example, I'm happy with that, because I know we'll win it. We're better than everyone else. Real Madrid are a bogey team because they've got the Vinicius, the Rodrigo, the Bellingham, the Mbappe. They've got them all.
And they've got the heritage. They've got that.
Exactly.
There's something about Real Madrid in the Champions League where they could be 3-0 down, as we've seen. And, you know, they just find a way to win. And Carlo Ancelotti just has the gift when it comes to managing his team, peaking at the right time. And now they have Mbappe. It's going to be even harder for anyone to beat Real Madrid in the Champions League. You went out in the quarterfinals, same stage as us. This is what really annoys me about not winning the Premier League, because we would have had a way better season. Of course, if we won the league, it would have been way better. But you went out at the same stage as us. But because you've won it recently and we haven't, we get the pelters. You guys kind of get a pass. But that was a grand failure, wasn't it, to go out in the quarterfinals of the Champions League?
Well, yeah, to me, it felt weird going out that early. I was like, it felt way too early. Like, I'll be honest. I was sat there when we got beat on pens. I was like, so what now? Like, what do I do now? On my Tuesdays and Wednesdays, like, what do I do now? I was looking around. I was like, it's way too early. We got knocked out way too early. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, no, this can't be happening. I'm like, surely something's like got to come. Like, did we get a second chance? Because we got knocked out too early. But at the same time, I knew we were going to get knocked out, because the way the game was going at the Etihad, they scored first, we scored second. Then De Bruyne missed a chance. They were wanting penalties, because you know it's in their heritage, isn't it? They were going to win that. It was destined for them to win it, and they won it. It's just frustrating, because it's like we did so well at their place to get a draw. We come to our place, we think to yourself, oh yeah, it's gonna be 3-0. They score first, they sit back for the rest of the game. Like what Arsenal did basically when they came to City. They just sat back. And then out of nowhere, it goes penalties and we get beat. So it's like they set up for penalties. I know it. People can say to me they didn't set up for penalties, but I know they wanted penalties because in how they played. Real Madrid do not play like that unless they know they're not better than the position they're playing against. And I'm pretty sure Don Carlo came out of it, didn't he? He said that they know that they're not better than City, so they had to play like that. They had to do that. So it's just more frustrating when it happens because you know you should be winning. You know you've gone out too early, and you just got to settle down and just watch it because you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. No, it's a really good point. He's such an amazing tactician and strategist. He's and evening to Tyrese as well. Thanks for popping in and saying hi. Wish you the best for this season. I'm following Sheffield United, and I am rooting for you. And we all are here at Squad Central. You know what, as well, guys? I felt like Arsenal went out too early. We should have beaten that Bayern Munich team. I mean, granted, that Kimmich header was stunning. It was great, but we missed chances. See, this is where I understand the argument of some Arsenal fans who are like, we need a prolific striker, or maybe we just need to work on our finishing. You know, you can improve, right, as a player with your finishing and just being more alert, I don't know. You play the position. You tell me. I felt like, there was a good chance Benjamin White had in that first leg. I felt Arsenal were good enough to beat that Bayern Munich team and get to the semi-final.
Yeah, I just think the chances fall to the wrong players for Arsenal. If I'm being honest, I think they fell to the wrong players. I think I would have liked to have seen the likes of, even though Saka scored, I would have liked to see Saka have the chance Ben White had or Havertz have the chance Ben White had. I think if you look at the chances for Bayern, they fell to Kane. And Kane didn't miss, did he? He was just scoring. Like, what? Didn't Kane score 2 at your place?
He scored he scored.
Yeah, he scored, didn't he?
No,
so,
he scored.
Was it 1 or 2? Because
was it 1-1 or 2-2? Yeah. No, I think he scored.
Was it 2-2?
Did he score a penalty?
He scored a pen.
Yeah, it was 2.
He went down the middle.
Yeah. I don't think he scored 2. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, squaddies. It's been a long off season, but he's always it's guaranteed. Harry Kane scoring against Arsenal, just go bank it.
He always scores, doesn't he? He always scores.
Yeah, it was a pen. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Always scores against you. But no, you should have won. But the thing is, when you go to the Allianz, is it
the Allianz? Yeah.
I think the Allianz.
Yeah. You got it right.
The Allianz Arena. Yeah, got it right. It's hard, especially on the Champions League night. Like City, the season we won the treble, we went there and we drew 1-1 with them. Haaland scored, and then I think Kimmich scored a penalty for them. We struggled there because they were all over us at one stage, and we could have gone out if it wasn't for our defending. So for Arsenal going there and having to score more than Bayern Munich, it's impossible. It's a hard task. I think personally,
it's hard.
Like, I think you're being harsh on Arsenal, and I think that realistically they were going to go out because Bayern got more experience in the Champions League, than Arsenal. I think it was one step too far.
Yeah, I mean, and James, thanks for that. Yeah, because the players on the flanks destroyed us in that first. Yeah. Kivior has never really featured again for Arsenal since that game at the Emirates. And I feel for him because Mikel's ruthless when it comes to performances like that. He just didn't feel he could trust him again. But yeah. All right then. So who are you picking to win the Champions League? I'm going with Real Madrid. It's so boring. It's such a boring, lame pick. But is this going to be the season Mbappe? Also, I kind of it annoys me because he's supposed to be the best player in the world, yet PSG had all this talent, and they just failed at the last hurdle. And I didn't think that in the World Cup for France, I feel like he puts the team on his shoulders, but in those Champions League games, I feel like in most of them he faded. You know, he shrunk as opposed to being the player that we know him to be. You know, he might get lucky with Real Madrid. What do you think? Who's going to win it?
I just think. I think Mbappe would do well for Real Madrid, but I don't think he would do as well as what people make out. I think at PSG he was the main man, and give the ball to him, he would do his thing. At Real Madrid, he's around Vinicius, Rodrigo, Bellingham. You can go back to look at PSG when PSG had Neymar, Messi, Mbappe. He wasn't as great with them, was he, as he is on his own. On his own, he's a lot more frightening because he can focus on his actual game. I think that will bite Real Madrid in the arse. I think it will bite them in the arse because I think that they will clash. I think the players will clash, and I think they will get injuries. Real Madrid seem to get a lot of injuries, weirdly, but then the players come back for the big games in the Champions League. But I think they'll get knocked out in the quarterfinals, Real Madrid.
Wow, this is a huge. I'm going to have to clip this and get it ready for next month, for next April.
They'll get knocked out in the quarters or semis, and I think City will win the Champions League.
Of course you do. You can't take your rose-colored glasses off. Although I do trust that you are honest, and you are calling it as you see. You just fancy it this year, is what you're saying.
I do.
Does that mean, right? You know, it is quite interesting when you. It's like the Galacticos. They're almost got a Galacticos team again. Not quite the same, but there are rumblings that I think Bellingham and Mbappe are going to clash. That is not a marriage made in heaven. Two massive egos.
That's what I think. I think, and it happens in football when you have a big earner and another big earner, or a big ego and another big ego. I do think they'll clash. I've been in teams where one player thinks he's good and another player thinks he's good, and then on the pitch they don't like each other because he wants to have the ball all the time and he wants to have the ball all the time. It doesn't work. They will clash because they'll lose a few games in the Liga. Tensions will rise because all that. Look, I don't know if it was true about the Neymar and Mbappe situation, but it looked to me that it was true because they were a bit seedy with each other, weren't they? They were a bit like off with each other. I think that'll be the same situation, and I think that's what made PSG not succeed in the Champions League because of that relationship between them two.
You know, and I think we believe that it to be true. Reports, yes, but also we know Neymar and Messi love each other. They're like best buds.
Yeah.
So we know it wasn't an issue between, you know, the two of them. And it appears, I think Mbappe's got a lot of footballer baggage. I think he's bought into the hype, and he'll be humbled at Real Madrid. You know, no one's bigger than the club at Real Madrid. So, okay, so if you're going for Manchester City to win the Champions League, Kyle Campbell, let's hear it. Who's going to win the Premier League?
The winner of the Premier League will be... I'm going to go for... Let's go for Ipswich. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm gonna go for Man City double this season.
Just thought that you were going to say it out loud.
Sorry. You know,
maybe
you know
I should just get. Maybe next time I'll get Tyrese on the show. I think so.
For everything that's happened recently, I would love Arsenal to win it. But I just think getting Gundogan back, it boosts the City team. It does. It boosts us, and it helps us, you know, because he was the captain of the treble-winning season. Getting him back, he's not the captain anymore, but he's still a massive help. So that's why I just think that it will push us over the line this season again.
I got two of you now.
Yes, Ty.
Ty's
Go on.
back.
Yeah,
Ty's backing you up. What am I going to do with the two of you?
Yeah,
Listen,
true.
a double.
I think we'll do a double this season. I do.
All right, fine. Listen, I can't change your mind or change your opinion. Maybe lawyers and the relegation or points deduction
Here we
can.
go. Here we go. Yeah.
But we'll talk about that next time because we don't have time to go through 115 alleged charges in like, 2-3 minutes. So, yeah. Say, I know they really would love to see that, but they're as competitive as Super Kev was. And let me tell you, these boys will not relent. They will not relent at all.
Yeah,
Will
true.
you?
Yeah. No, definitely not. No. We've got to stick. We've got to stick to our team. We've got to, because when you've won it 4 in a row, like what we have, that's a record, by the way. 4 in a row. We're gonna go for 5.
We know.
We're gonna go for 5.
Might rethink this series for this season. Just saying.
And obviously, Arsenal may chase the Champions League because they've never won it. Who knows? They may chase the Champions League.
Yeah, I saw you sneak in they've never won it. Yeah, I mean that's true. We've never won it. But like I said, we do have the heritage and the history, and we do have, classy club that don't cheat to win.
There we go. Yeah.
I mean, you must be worried about that just a little bit, right? Just a tiny bit.
I'm not. I'm not.
Well, you should.
Everyone can put the 115 in. You can say what you want, but we're too rich. Even if we have done it, we're too powerful. And if we've done it, then what have Chelsea done? I know it's right.
Well, they're next.
They're too next rich as well. They're too rich.
Yes, they're next. And Newman picking up where he left off, going after another Campbell here. I love it. I expect you to give a 10 out of 10. Yeah. He's never going to get a coin, by the way. It's never going to happen. He will never get one.
Yeah. I guess it's not happening. It's still not happening.
It's still not happening. And listen, GOONERS, we're going to get into that. Okay. We're going to talk about that, and we have to be careful what we say and what we talk about. But if you go to my "What does it mean to be a fan" video, you'll see I mention it, and I get it. Fans like Kyle, they're young. They're when you start, all is supporting a club that started winning. But how? That's a whole other conversation. Heritage does matter. Maybe it's a generational thing, but clearly something is untoward, and we're going to see and find out what happens to Manchester City in the long term. For now, they have a team. They're on the pitch. They're in the Premier League. We play for points, and they're the ones that we have to beat, regardless of what has been. And that's just the truth of it. And doesn't mean I find it untasteful, and I find it distasteful, and I find it there should be an even playing field. And what Chelsea are doing right now too is just a disgrace to football. I just don't understand it. I really don't.
Yeah, way too many players. Way too many players.
Yeah. All right. Now he's sucking up. This is what he does all the time. He just then starts sucking up to the Campbells. Tyrese, thanks for popping into the chat as well. It was really nice to see your name pop up, even though you're egging this one on. You get the last word. What do you want to leave the squaddies with after your return? It's not a debut. It's a return. It's like it's like Gundogan. You came back.
I came back, yeah. I came back. I had to come back. I had to, I've missed it too much. But my words are, I hope everyone has a good weekend, especially Saturday, because obviously Arsenal are on the early kickoff, and then City are on the 5:30. And make sure you tell your loved ones, your family members, that you love them as well. And make sure that you always remember the good times.
Beautiful. I love that. And on that note, squaddies, at ease. You'll see Kyle in a couple of weeks. He will be back. And maybe we will drill him 115 times with some points to prove about his team. Until then, squaddies, we'll see you. Take care. Good night. Cheers, Kyle.
Cheers.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad. We love that too, Ty. We love that too. Good night, everyone.